In the market for a new mobile phone? Tired of watching hundreds of videos on the latest devices? Look no further, my friend. This is the Lazy Reviewers, and today we're bringing in an in-depth review of the Xiaomi Mi 10T 5G with all its camera specs and features explained. The timestamps for all the segments are given below, so if you're looking for something specific, that's going to help you out. With all that out of the way, let's get right into it. The Mi 10T is a new upper mid-range phone from Xiaomi, and it falls right at the $500 price point. First, let's discuss some of the phone's specifications. The Mi 10T 5G comes with a Snapdragon 865 chipset and uses this chip's image processing capabilities for the camera. The main camera has a 64 megapixel sensor, whereas the wide angle has a 13 megapixel sensor. There's also a macro camera underneath that has a 5 megapixel sensor. The phone uses a 20 megapixel sensor as its front camera. Next, let's take a look at the actual camera app and all the features it offers. Opening the camera app, we are greeted by the picture tab from the main camera. At the top, we have our most useful settings like the flash, HDR, AI, filters, and Google Lens. Above the shutter button, we can see the current mode and a couple of other modes along with a more options tab. Above all these modes, we can see the zoom options as 0.6 times, 1 time, and 2 times. On the left of the shutter button, you can see your recent shots, and in the top right, you can access all of your other settings. Now, let's take a look at how this camera performs in the real world and some of the camera samples. Starting from the main camera, shooting at 12 megapixels. This is achieved by taking an image from the 64 megapixel sensor and bitting the pixels together. This gives the image a clearer look with a lot less noise and a smaller file size. Of course, with this process, a lot of the information is lost, which can be seen in the full 64 megapixel images by zooming in. The wide angle loses some of the color saturation and detail, but still gives a very nice result for this 123 degrees field of view. Moving to the macro lens, it does exactly what you expect a macro lens to do. The focus is a hit or miss a lot of the times, but when it works, the result is amazing. The main camera can take pictures of close-up objects and get a natural background blur, thanks to its f1.9 aperture. The portrait mode works like it's supposed to with great edge detection. AI mode isn't exactly that great, it slightly saturates the image, loses some of the finer details, and that's about it. The phone does struggle in harsh shooting conditions like extreme sunlight or night photography. The night mode and HDR do help, but not a lot. The night mode is still something that needs a lot of improvements on Xiaomi phones. Next up, let's talk about the video. The Mi 10T supports up to 8K at 30 FPS, as you can see here. That's a whole 6 frames more than the S20 Ultras. The 8K footage isn't cropped in like some of the other phones. The stabilization isn't great at 8K, but it's pretty good at 4K 60 FPS and even better at 1080 60. The selfie camera supports up to 1080 30 FPS and 720 120 FPS. The videos from the front camera appear exceptionally stable. The slow-mo from the back camera is pretty great at 1080 960 FPS. It does seem like it's captured at 480 FPS and then enhanced digitally, but the end result is great nonetheless. Video footage in night times feel fine and is a lot less noisier than expected. So, should you buy the Mi 10T 5G because of its camera? Well, it's complicated. The camera itself isn't something extraordinary, but when you factor in that this phone has a lot of other features apart from its camera, not to mention its price, the deal seems awfully convincing. Features like the Snapdragon 865, the storage, the 144Hz display, the punch-hole camera, everything falls right into place, making this a very compelling option. Make sure to take a second to subscribe for more to-the-point unboxings, reviews, and much more.